That's why I always tell people our message is good, but we need to know how to present our message to gain more votes.
Well, I mean, Dr. Paul, when you've studied politics for a long time, your dad's been a congressman for decades, you're a medical doctor, you're a smart guy. Looking at Obama's record, in your book, does he take the cake for lying? I mean, everything he says he's gone back on. And then he said he wouldn't raise taxes unless you made $250,000 a year as a couple. These carbon taxes are going to raise taxes on everything, and like you just said, hurt the poorest people.
Well, the amazing thing is he can do it with a straight face. As long as his teleprompter's working, he can do it with a straight face and a smile, and he can tell us how he's not going to do something at the same time his other hand is actually doing it. So I guess it's just the amazing gall of politicians who tell us this and tell us they're not going to do something, and meanwhile they're doing exactly that. I think it's an amazing feat how far we are going to lurch to the left and how big government's going to grow in the first 6 months to a year. But I think there'll be a backlash, and the only good thing I think we have going for us is there will be a backlash in 2010. And in my own particular race, I think Kentucky will be ripe to run against Obama because he did very poorly in the Democrat primary here against Hillary Clinton. She clobbered him by 30 points. And then even McCain, who didn't do that well and ran a lackluster campaign, he also killed Obama in Kentucky. So Kentucky is sort of a split state, but also a state that really doesn't like far left-wing politics.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, look, you're right. There's going to be an explosive backlash. It's going to catapult you into the U.S. Senate if there isn't an election fraud.
Finally in the news this evening, it's being reported that cyber spies from Russia and China have now penetrated our power grid. Even as energy experts are reporting that each summer we get closer and closer to the limits of our nation's power grid, some say that this summer's demand for electrical power may finally push the grid over its edge, creating a cascade of power outages across the country, putting us all in the dark.
Are you prepared for the next round of storm-related outages or government-created blackouts? Have you ever thought about taking steps to get off the grid and generate your own private supply of electrical power? If so, this will be the most important information you have ever heard. Solar-powered generators are finally available. They have no moving parts to wear out or break and require absolutely no gas whatsoever. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Check out mysolarbackup.com before you lose your power.
We're going to take 4 or 5 calls for him before he leaves by the 50 after. So if you want to talk specifically to him about Dr. Ron Paul, about himself, about his family, about the campaign for liberty, any questions dealing with fighting the globalist, 1-800-259-9231, 1-800-259-9231. Specifically, Dr. Paul, the New World Order, the globalist. Now, your dad's talked about it for decades, got laughed at. Now it's Times of London, cover of Newsweek, New World Order, world government, Bank of the World will pay our taxes to. If you're elected to the Senate, they are obviously going to approach you. They're going to, certainly you have no skeletons and they'll try to invent them. Are you going to aggressively go after the globalists? Because I believe the best defense is a good offense, not just fighting their programs, but going after them for their crimes. Do you agree with your father that we need criminal investigations of the Federal Reserve?
Yes, I think we go after the specifics, and in some ways the media might light up more, and they have recently lit up thinking that Goldman Sachs and Paulson may have been doing something to enrich themselves. So I think if we can paint it and expose it as people personally becoming wealthy off of the system and not let them get away with the fact that they say, oh, the Fed's independent and has our best interest at heart, if we can show specifically where individuals are benefiting by government policy that then hurts the rest of us, absolutely, I think we should do that.
Well, I saw a video that if we have time, we'll play it later. It's been up on Infowars.com for a couple of days of Paulson being questioned by House members and admitting he personally got $200 million off of money he transferred and saying that's not a conflict of interest because a White House ethics office signed off on it. I mean, this is really getting sick.
Well, you remember Paulson's first bill for the TARP Act. It was like 3 paragraphs just saying, appoint me king and let me do whatever I want with the money system. And, they shot that down, but then they made it 1,100 pages of obscure legalese, and we got probably just as bad or worse. Now the TARP Act is used for the car bailouts. I even saw the other day that the minority broadcasters are going to try to get money from the TARP Act.
Oh, it's just amazing. They're raising, I saw in New York State, 84 taxes they've passed. All these other states are passing new taxes. Here in conservative Texas, every month I have new taxing authorities knocking on my door telling me that they're going to come in and assess me. How much can the public put up with? I saw a report that in Texas, and I've seen in other states, 10% or more of the public have warrants out for unpaid tickets. I mean, are they just going to squeeze us to like the sheriff of Nottingham?
Well, I saw the other day they're going after a woman in Pennsylvania for not paying her cigarette tax. She's been ordering her cigarettes online for a couple of years, and they've put a lien against her house. Not so funny, but, they're aggressive, and they will do it. I think there has to be a breaking point. Taxes eventually get so high that I think there will be a breaking point. I think, for example, on cigarettes, we've probably gotten high enough that there probably already is, but there will be even a bigger black market probably for cigarettes. People will eventually avoid the government taxes completely because the prices will become so high.
It's just incredible. If the Senate passes, more of a reason to have you in the U.S. Senate, passes the cap and trade, I was reading the actual bill that they kept 300 pages secret up until after it passed, as you know, Dr. Rand Paul, running for Senate in Kentucky, joining us, or about to announce running for Senate, hopefully. If they were able to get that through, it just gives this executive power, kind of like Paulson saying, make me God. They have gun bills that just say the Attorney General can ban any guns he wants, or he can put you on a no-fly, no-gun buy list. It seems the federal government is moving to this imperial model.
Well, and it's always lost in thousands of pages of legalese. For example, in the Health Care Act, they've named the Health Care Act something like the Free Choice Health Reform Act of 2009. But you know what? The more friendly it sounds in the title, the more ominous it is if you read the nitty-gritty. In that Health Care Act, there's actually part of it says that when you leave your company or change insurance policies, you'll only be able to buy insurance that's approved by the government. And they already have the restrictions in there on what you can sell. And I think things like health savings accounts, which are part of the solution to our problems, will probably not be sold after this health care reform passed.
Incredible. I want to take a few final calls. People should certainly visit the website that we have up on screen at prisonplanet.tv. They should get ready for the money bomb that is coming up as well. RandPaul2010.com, RandPaul2010.com. We've got links up on Infowars.com and prisonplanet.tv. But you made a joke during the break that you wouldn't let the Bilderberg Group, if you get elected to the Senate, drag you off to a secret meeting. But if you were there, joking that you would certainly wave at me while I was bullhorning from the outside. If you get elected to the Senate, what are you going to do when these people approach you? Are you going to blow the whistle on them?
Well, see, I have to correct you a little bit on that, Alex. What I said is I wouldn't join the Bilderbergers, for philosophic reasons, but the other reason I wouldn't join them is because I'd be afraid Alex Jones would be outside the meeting with the bullhorn calling me out. So absolutely I wouldn't, but I've seen your videos calling a few of them out and interviewing a few of them, and for some reason they get quite testy with you if you ask them questions about it.
They certainly did. No, you refreshed my memory. We were coming into break. The music was already playing, and we were bantering and laughing back and forth, and I meant to say, I hope that you would go to Bilderberg and then come out and expose them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that would be possible or not, but yeah, I think we should expose people who are, promoting this globalist agenda for personal gain and for financial gain at the expense of the rest of our country and at the expense of our republic.
Well, we're going to go to calls in a moment, but I want to just say this now here before you run for Senate, before you win, or certainly give them one hell of a run, that people need to support you from the start to the middle to the finish and then after, because it is quite a load to take running for office and to really try to win, to put your private life in the crosshairs. I know a lot of people that know your family well. I've known your dad for 13 years. Very upright, incredibly hard work ethic, good Christian people. Interviewed your uncle, Wayne Paul, last week, and another amazing individual fighting for liberty and freedom. But people need to understand, they're going to manufacture stuff about you. They're going to lie about you. They're going to take things out of context out about you. And people don't need to ninny. They need to just get behind you guys and move forward, because we'd be in a lot worse position today if Ron Paul hadn't have run and educated millions of people about the true nature of the political and economic system. And I just want to get your take on this here now. Look at how it did backfire, though, when, for the movie Bruno, Sacha Baron Cohen, and I didn't cover this when it first came out until your dad had commented on it, that, you know, they've got an interview going, they say the light breaks, they say, please step in here, and he pulls his pants down and you know, basically tries to block the door. And then the media tried to spin it like Ron Paul, you know, caught in a bad position. And then it came out that they called him in a room, cornered him, and really almost tried to sexually assault him. That was done on purpose. Sacha Baron Cohen is a globalist, and it's not just funny, though it's the #1 movie right now. I just want to bring that up and warn people that they mean business and are going to try dirty tricks, but that did end up blowing up in their face.